The people who are buying it are looking at you versus Chanel. That's your competitors. So you need to be seen in the places where the buying happens. And this is one of the lessons that Western London designers learn, is that London is a fantastic showcase, but actually a lot of the buying happens in Paris.
Yeah. London is bought all in Paris. So now London
So
is
but I mean,
earlier it used to be New York. So you'd see old McQueen and everybody going en masse. What we need is an en masse voice from UAE, or GCC and Lebanon, that says, you know what, here we are, this is our design aesthetics, this is what we stand for, these are the deliverables, because these organizations are behind us, and we are here to show the world what we can do.
Maybe someone who just educates you about the process of applying to these places even. I mean,
Very
we have clients who call us and they're like, oh, can you help me? I want to send an application to Coachry. I mean, I'm a PR agency, but they don't know about it, they're scared of rejection. There's so many other aspects of that someone just kind of sits there and guides them. Just like when we went to university, there was a counselor that helped you get your university application forms together and apply, etc. Maybe there's a...
So what I'm hearing is there are two levels going on in this conversation. There's the practical stuff that at the moment you haven't got, and it's getting in the way. So the most immediate barriers are, how do I set up as a company? What does PR do? How do I get stocked? They're the how-to questions. And part of, whether it's sales agents, fashion councils, the kind of structural, you've got to have a way that delivers that knowledge at the right stage for each company that says, do this bit now. So structurally, that needs to exist. Timing is good in that you've got the support for SMEs, you've got the support for the creative industries, it's growing, etc. So great time to do that stuff. And I don't want to downplay the need for that, because absolutely it matters. But the other part of this is, let us imagine that you had that support and you were going to take a crowd internationally to Paris, London, New York, wherever. I think the other thing that we need to give some thought to is, a number of you touch on this rich cultural heritage, but part of that is about saying, well, how would you communicate that? What is it that you would want to stand out?
I've been hearing statements like, we want to rush to being known globally, we want to be international. Are we really ready for that? I don't think so. I'm sorry. I asked the question and I've answered it. Academically, we're not. Professionally, we're not. As I have mentioned earlier, it's a very new market. I think we need to capitalize and invest in our own region. We have to produce, we have to really work it out over here before rushing into going globally. That's what I believe. We don't even have the creative expertise. I mean, all the maybe fashion students have one dream of being a fashion designer, a well-known fashion designer. But what about those who just want to make it as a profession, like being creative pattern designers, like other technical skills that are really required by the industry over here? There are lots and loads of fashion houses over here that really need these skills, but where are they? Where are we finding them?
There is a lot of people employed in the fashion industry here have fabulous skills and craft and knowledge, and the structure is such that they don't actually really get fully compensated for that by a lot of companies.
Yes. So
I put that very depth, and I'm sure you're all people that value your workforce here, whoever works in design, manufacturing, because you know how important they are. But not everybody has that ethos, and I actually had a graduate the other day who's got a really interesting job, and when she came to negotiate the salary, she's an assistant designer with good technical knowledge. The pay was actually very disappointing for her level of what she could bring to the company.
I think that brings us back to another keyword which she strikes the right note on, which is education. I think we need that education for the industries that support the design industry. And that must be a completely different education system, because otherwise everybody feels they want to be a designer.
I think I would add to that technical partnerships as well,
Exactly,
because it can't go without that.
Commercial, yeah, you're very right. You can't have it. You can't go correct without having a cutting industry.
Of course, I believe within education, you're talking to two main audiences over here. Ones are who are already in university and are pursuing this future academically right now. But there are ones that have already jump-started this business, who did not have the privilege to having these universities previously. And what do we do about those? Because those are the ones that are in the market right now, and somehow they're becoming role models for others.
And going back to, and I hate it when I use examples of something, say, from London, because it's a very different place, but one of the things that's good about the CFE that I think is very strong is they've got different kinds of paths, because we're all different. So if you see your business is going big and you want to move into branding, maybe expanding your product, then that means you might need to be looking at a venture capital package. You might want to keep very small, precious, bespoke, couture. I don't see myself as doing a Mato. I like working with my clients, but I need to improve my production skills, or I need to improve my cash flow management, so that there's something there for everybody within the scale.
So I'm really interested as to just how different the discussion is here than it was in Beirut, and I'd love to know what you're taking from it.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to comment. All of the things I've heard from everyone is exactly what we're facing, but I was just about to say that at least here you have the support, you have the governmental support. So whatever decision or action you decide to take, at least you will be able to move it forward much faster, with much with more success than what we struggled in Beirut and Lebanon. But everything I've heard is exactly what we heard back in Beirut, during Beirut Design Week, and what me and other designers and the ateliers and the artisans are facing. It's exactly the same challenges, the same situations, but at least here you have more support to build the awareness and get it somewhere, not just struggle to make it happen. First of all, create the council, create what needs there are and what actions should be taken, and then create awareness. The first thing that has to be done is create awareness. When you create awareness, people start to realize what are the aspects that need value, to give value to things. Because I always say, when it's dealing with people in certain specializations, not just designers, everyone needs to feel they're valued. So when you create that awareness, people start to realize where's the value in each aspect. Yes, not just for the designers, for people in technical positions, people just doing the sales. So when people see the value, they won't just go to the brands, to the international brands. What do people see in international brands? It's the value that they're communicating to their audience.
I think in Lebanon we're not waiting for any grants because we know we're not getting them. It's it's interesting. I'm enjoying the spirit here, and somehow you're waiting for something to happen. The designers gave up. They know that they won't have it. They're working. It's a totally different model, as you just said. It's a different model. It is a model where you're going around the system or trying to find a different way of following your
that's what I'd like
business.
you to bring out, the different ways that you'll do things. For example, Start Foundation, crafts tours, what you'll do with Desmin. Can you all tell us about it, please?
Desmin?
I mean, the project. Even you, what you did with the university when I came, how you brought the university students into the Beirut Design Week. I would like you to highlight those things.
Desmin, I mean,
Desmin, the project that you had when we attended the Beirut, the university, this thing, how you brought all the practitioners at the end of the week to speak to the design students when I came to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to the point where we're waiting for support. We just work with what we have, and it's basically organizing the different events where we invite designers. We're trying to invite designers, fashion designers from outside of Lebanon to somehow tell us about the way, their structure, or the way they deal with promoting the fashion designers, and we learn from them. Or we try to work on the structure there.
You're right. The chances of you getting from support from the Lebanese government are close to nil, and you've recognised that. And the attitude is, let's just get on with it,
Yes.
because we would wait forever. So and it can be chaotic, and it doesn't always lead to collaboration. You know, it is an imperfect system, as with any. But I think there are some things to learn in that, because as a country and as a set of Beiruti designers, you have had some notable successes. You know, whether that's starch coming here, whether that's, I've seen Elie Saab's perfume in every airport I've been through in the last 3 years. You know, so there are clearly identifiable successes that have come out from what is almost the opposite of what we're talking about here. So what are the things that we can learn from that approach that we could add to what you're thinking of here? So I'm all in favour of a fashion council, I'm all in favour of better governance. You know, you're coming up with very smart stuff, but there's a little bit of me that I feel, admittedly as a Londoner, a bit disempowered by the idea that I would wait for an organisation to be the hub of it. Now, you can tell me to get stuffed, I'm a Londoner, that's fine, but
It's because we tried.
okay.
We tried. It's been 9 years trying. It's just discouraging. I feel like a bit more of that to the ingredient would like shut the whole thing down, you know? And not only that, even for God's sakes, our fashion shows. It's about the fashion shows, the events that happen here. It's about who has the money can get in.
Yeah.
And you pay 50, 40,000 and no buyers. There are no buyers there.
Yeah, society people.
And then my buyer seat were filled with society people. I'm like, I paid to have buyers. Where are my buyers? They're like, oh, they didn't want to come. No, I think you just wanted my money, and that's it, you know. So even like I remember, I was doing an event, and there was a girl next to me, and I was like, hi, how are you? And she's like, how long have you been in the industry? I'm like, 9, 10 years. I'm like, what about you? She's like, 3 months. And I was like, why am I standing next to a girl who is only 3 months old and has no experience whatsoever? This is tiring. You know, all of this is tiring. And by the way, I've done a show in Paris, and tickets plus staying there plus the press plus everything costed me less than Dubai Fashion Week did.
I agree.
Honestly. And the feedback and the buyers were full. The seats were full. And that's what I'm trying to say. What's happening? I feel I'm being used, honestly, as a fashion designer. I feel like the more I pay, the more I get, you know?
That's not fair.
And they know that SMEs are struggling, so they would pay for knowledge, they would pay for support, they would pay. So I feel like we're just being sucked off, you know?
Okay.
So it's unprofessionally done. It came a point where I broke down and I was like, I'm going to shut down if this keeps happening. So I started something called Enough. And what I've done is I presented to governments in Dubai and Sharjah. And they said the same thing to me. They're like, you need a council to speak, or like a group of people who know what they're talking about speak to you. If I listen to you and I listen to her, and how will the government satisfy all our needs? They need one voice to speak for all of us. That's what they told me. And they told me, we are ready to take that campaign and put it in plan, but we need a group of people behind you to do that. And we are ready to put laws for fashion. We are ready to put regulations. We are ready to put legal actions. But we cannot do it just for you, because another designer would come and say, but I want that, but how come you did that? So they're like, we need someone who has a background and knows about this.
It's intellectual property.
Yeah. So they need that, and they said if that happens, we're more than happy to take the campaign Enough. Otherwise, it will take years for the government to adapt such rules, because to start new rules in a country, that's like adding up something to an ingredient that's been there for a long time. It takes time. It takes 10 to 15 years, and they're going to adapt it on their own. So if there is a council that can come and speak for all of us, they will start actions faster.
I just want to add something off that, and I was going to say there needs to be, going back to the Lebanon example, was what gets you through is that energy that comes up from the grassroots level.
Yes.
And that's tapping into what you were saying about the subculture. It's something that generates on its own. It doesn't actually need to go.
But you need people breaking out of comfort zones. So
Yeah.
you need the people actually really wanting something and not just being in this golden cage and saying, okay, I need to be a fashion designer because I like fashion.
But I think that energy is here, but it's very diffused. Now, as you said, we've got the Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, we've got other groups. And when I arrived here, I've been here for 6 years, and I was surprised how everything was sort of grouped. It's like, oh no, that's Dubai side. Oh no, that's in Abu Dhabi. Oh, that's in that part of the community. And this was in the fashion. And I said, well, it's not that big to be all these separate little subgroups. And I was like, oh, very confused. And I think that's not intended. I don't think you can sit down and actually create that, but that's how, especially these geographical boundaries. And then that stops this energy kind of really crossing and becoming more interconnected and becoming more dynamic and growing in momentum.
And there's another important thing I realized about the industry. People are very selfish. Knowledge is for free.
Exactly.
And they don't know that. And do you work with Sharjah Higher Technology College or Sharjah?
I have got some indirect links to it, but they're literally across the road.
Yeah,
to
because
us.
I give free classes there to the students, and when I opened my workshop for the students to come, they were like, "You're the only designer who accepted to take us into the workshop." Others were like, "No, it's private. No one should see how we work, and it's important." I realized that here, a lot of people in the industry are selfish, and to get something out of them, you need to give them something back. While I believe that knowledge is for free, connections are, everything around us is for free. If we actually open up and share more, our education and knowledge will get better because we can share with each other. But I've realized people are very selfish. I don't know, they just don't
And the
want to open up.
workshops are all the same, but the brain is different. That's the
Exactly,
only thing.
exactly.
I think it's an issue
The
of
machines are all the
lacking
same.
confidence. They don't know if they're doing it right. It's not the issue. You are confident enough, that's why you're opening your door. I'm opening my door in Abu Dhabi, and so on. But a lot of us, I mean, the people I meet around me have no confidence in that. And maybe they would if they would come to my workshop, your workshop, and see how it functions and how normal it is,
Yeah.
and how, dusty and unpainted walls are there. They think for a brand to exist, it has to be a 5-star hotel with a system, and it's not. It's very organic. Workshops, designer space is a very organic space, and I think a lot of people just don't know it and have never seen it.
It's a
and
comfy
haven't-
space because you spend all your time there. So
Exactly.
I'm not embarrassed from opening my doors. Yes, my walls aren't painted. Yes, fabrics are everywhere. It's dusty, but that's how
That's the
I'm
beauty.
comfortable there. That's how
That's the
I
beauty.
get my ideas coming up. And I believe that if we share each other's knowledge is for free. We're not going to lose anything. I've even tried to collaborate or try to do events with the Abaya designers, and no one wants to work with me. They're like, well, you're in the same industry. What are we, cannibals? We're eating each other? And I was like, no, I'm trying to help you. We help each other. You have your taste, I have my taste. You have your clients. Let's share the clients.
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah.
They're very selfish.
Yes.
And I think this needs to change, and people need to open up their arms to each other.
I think the one way to get this to change is to see the other, side of it and see who's successful and works together. And to be honest, I always raise this example. The Indian community within the country we need to learn from them
Yes.
something. Why are we just, labeling and just saying, oh no, they work together, but we don't even work together, we kill each other? I think we need to learn from them. We need to see how they've made it and understand it's only by coming together that we can shine and we can sort of, upgrade who we are in a way. They do it very beautifully, very professionally in their own communities, and we've seen it, we've lived around it. Our businesses have been worked around their businesses, but they're there way before our businesses, and the only way that we are going to excel in the same place they are in is by us learning from other cultures that live with us and not putting boundaries.
So it's part of what makes us unique. going back to your first question, it's a cosmopolitan country where we have lots of different expertise that we can learn from.
But I think it's also about true diversity and the fact that out of that diversity comes a new way of mixing together, and out of it potentially comes something new again from the exchange from these very different cultures, different techniques, different whatever. Out of difference will become something more unique.
Speaking about awareness, I mean, reinforcing or encouraging people to buy local or let's say UAE-based products, don't you agree with me that marketing plays a very big role in that? I mean, we have the past few years we have a large amount of new magazines that have established in the Middle East. We have Harper's Bazaar Middle East. We've got Cosmopolitan, I guess. Grazian. Yeah, but what are the products that they market?
Yeah, Harper's Bazaar. I thought I was the only one, but everyone, even outside of UAE, I had friends telling me, what's up with this clique that's always on Harper's Bazaar? It's almost like, you know, it's always the same people. And so, yeah, there is sort of this clique. So, yeah, I asked Harper's Bazaar directly when she said, yeah, we support and we show, and, you know, we show the buyers but in a different way and very fashion forward. And I said, okay. And she's like, no, we're very relevant to the Emirati women here and we show them what they want. I said, okay, all that's great. And I said, then what about my work? You know, I mean, yeah, okay, when I won with British Council, I had a feature with them. But that's it. And I said, I'm relevant to our culture, to our religion. How comes you guys never did a spread on me? You know, and I've even showed abroad, just like so many, including New York and London and all. Oh, the answer was very like, oh, we must have coffee. Oh, you know, it's just like a very ignorant.
No, it's went further. She let her finish.
Oh,
Yeah,
but you
and
said
then
London
she-
and New York, so
and
obviously
then-
they're anti-know
No,
each
the
other.
thing is, they know me very well, so I don't have to tell them what I do. They know me very well. Again, no names taken, but she was like, yeah, you know, Karl Lagerfeld. Of course, we feature stuff. See, we had Karl Lagerfeld doing an abaya shoot with us. So see how relevant we are? So I said, well, that's Karl Lagerfeld, you know?
Expand. She said something else to your face, but
Go ahead. She likes to give a wider interpretation of it. So go ahead, Sandra.
No, you see what she told you in the end, that we have a remit.
Yes, she did say that our stuff needs to go through the head office, and so we have limitations because it has to get approved. So I said, I wouldn't get approved just because I put a headscarf on a model or I cover her up, so I wouldn't get approved. She didn't have an answer.
Yes.
And this is here, so why should I complain about, you know, Europe or America publications overseas when our own here, where it is in our kind of, you know, we're in a safe bubble here, but even in our safe bubble there's these limitations.
But these magazines are getting boring. I don't even buy them anymore.
Nobody
Because
buys
it's the same
them, of
people,
course.
same
No,
stuff.
Of course.
That's
I'm
it.
telling you, it was a joke with friends from other countries. They were like, "What's up? It's like the same people every week.
Yeah.
People socializing, parties."
As a PR person working on, so I represent a few local brands here as well as a few local boutiques. And our specialities, we work with SMEs, startup boutiques, you know, small, medium-sized businesses. And unfortunately, journalism is becoming very commercial. I mean, for people like me, whose job is, you know, no matter if we know editors, we know people, they'll be like, yeah, but you know what? We really need them to take an ad. You know, we really need them to take an ad if they really want to be featured. And I'm like, you know, we rack our brains, we come up with interesting articles, we do all of that stuff, and it's of no use because they'll be like, you know what? Can you check if they have a budget? You know, something that we can use, and for us it's becoming very challenging doing our job right, you know.
That's why you need
So
higher
it's scary.
value to do this for you, to do even the financial support and the marketing. There has to be a campaign, and again, individual designer cannot do it. You know, this is a very important role.
I would say these are the reasons why new design magazines and routes to market get set up by the next generation, because Grazia, Vogue, Elle, etc. will always be looking at, you spend with us on advertising, and then you can have editorial.
But you know, even those guys have a challenge because new magazines, they're just trying to keep themselves afloat.
Yeah.
They need advertisers. The Chanels and the Lanvins don't want to advertise with them, you know. So it's,
But that's where the ground up stuff comes in, because in my view, the chances of you changing the business model of Grazia to force them to take on your editorial, would I spend my energy doing that? Personally, no, I wouldn't. Should you? Maybe. You know that better than I do. But why fight that?
I mean, these magazines don't even target our audience anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So I remember once I was sitting in a meeting and the editor-in-chief told me, I can't have you in the magazine because X brand gave me a very big gift and I have to reward them back. And excuse me? I mean, it became more of hey, what do you, the editors-in-chief aren't even professional anymore because they take gifts and she said it bluntly to my face, like, I got a big gift, I can't put you in this time. So I think she was telling me you didn't give me anything. I have no idea what kind of message she's trying to send.
Let's look into what's trending at the moment, which is the digital and such as social media. And it's free and has more exposure. It has great reach. And we've got fashion bloggers who are on the rise right now. So who defines these fashion bloggers?
Fashion is always a conspiracy, and it's a conspiracy between the design, the store, and the media. And it is a conspiracy led by a country to become a country of designers or a fashionable country. We need to do it en masse, like she said, we need to do it en masse. How do you propose we can do it en masse? How can the local designers create one strong voice or website or podium, or work through a podium to actually represent themselves, which would be interesting to both the designers as well as the PR agencies, as well as the people who are tired of reading the same rubbish.
I think social media provides that perfect platform to do that, to be honest, you know. I mean, for us, when we have events and pop-up shops, we actually find that print doesn't even work for us. And even if we get pre-event coverage in magazines, the way people come to our events is actually entirely through social media.
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. That's how we drive people to our doors for everything.
So the first question was, what are the unique elements that make up the fashion and design landscape here? And I've heard both positives and negatives, and I'd just like to capture the main ones, because then we'll move those into question 2. So the advantages that you have here, can we just summarise those?
The
Cultural.
The whole UAE is so grand, so
So the
Cultural
grand
identity, it's the
We're
cultural diversity.
yeah, diversity also.
A true diversity. I mean, there is diversity, but is it true all the time? Do we benefit from it?
Can we again say it's a new market, therefore we have loads of new opportunities as well?
And
It's
also
a young market. So it's ready right now to put the policies, the legislations, the pillars.
But I think all those things that have been positive can be flipped.
Yes.
And all of them can become negative because, okay, we talked about diversity of cultural identity, but if you feel you have an identity that is very different, that there's not the ebb and flow to accommodate different identities.
Yeah, so you're not getting an exchange between them. You're getting...
Yes.
There isn't a dialogue and there isn't a platform for those.
And it's about people being ultimately categorised in whatever way. The grandeur thing I also think can be negative because it's about larger than life, unattainable things, very grand, big shopping malls, and so a lot of people say, well, Dubai's fantastic or whatever, UAE, but where's the real Dubai? Because the grandeur comes the threat of it being seen as being a fake place, which you know it's not, but it can be perceived to be. In certain arenas, very fake. Obviously, diversity we've talked about. Young market means that there is a degree of naivety. Naivety sometimes can be back again on the positive side, that with naivety comes, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, I'm just going to get out there and coming back to that energy that we need to be generated at grassroots level. And obviously government support is fantastic, but it doesn't necessarily come in and solve all these other issues. That needs to have another level.
We've got business councils for women and mixed, and I think it's good and bad because we're not making use of it. Like we've got national business council, and then we've got many women councils.
But there's no support system
but
there either.
there isn't this real
But they're all
making
working
use
on
of it.
There's no substance to it as well, because most of them.
But there is money being put in it.
But we need a point for information on resources and information on resources.
But even, I mean, because I'm also a board member in charge of Business Women Council, and we always have this discussion about women and business and fashion. The problem is there is a lot of unprofessional people in the fashion industry that destroy the fashion industry for the professionals. So the council always says, like when we speak about this, they go like, who should we help, who shouldn't we? Like for example, when I go to pick a melon, when I go to a supermarket, I always ask the guy to get me the right melon because he knows how to get me the right melon. I don't want to take it home and it turns out wrong, you know? So they need someone to handpick these people and tell them support these, they deserve the support. They can't just support everybody because some of the people they support are just people who destroy the market for you. For example, there's a huge retail store in Dubai that refused to take local designers. Why? Because they hired a local designer, they gave them a space, and they weren't professional, they weren't providing per season, their fabrics were bad, their finishing was bad, so they took the stereotyping idea about, all of these local designers are rich, spoiled, they probably hired some Filipino or anybody to do the work for them, they're just calling themselves designers, so enough, close the doors. So these people who are in the industry, they're unprofessional, are destroying the industry for professional people. So these councils can't help everybody.
But you need to open up so you have this kind of dialogues in order to understand what are the issues, because they are looking to attract business women who are out there. They're looking to increase their numbers in the council. Now if you're saying I'm not going to touch any of the fashion design, even though that's what the growing industry, you're already eliminating a whole bunch of potential members. There has to be a way of screening process maybe that they put in place.
But they have no experience. That's their problem.
There's one thing I wanted Sarah to add on the board was the unethical, unprofessional journalism. We sent out the information about this award, but then the way they reacted that, oh no, let's wait who the winner is and then we will cover it. And then we tell them, but it's not the point. The point is to spread the word for an opportunity that is super beneficial for the market. But for them, it's more the juicy content that they want to sell. And sadly, even after that, they become even more picky about who the winner is, what is it they could get out of that, and what's in it for them from any opportunity. That is just another problem.
I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing there's a communication challenge,
Yes.
and there's a collaboration challenge.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other big headlines?
Lack of expertise, technical expertise.
Okay, so there's a content issue as well. So content, communication, and collaboration. Three big things that need work. Anything else? No, but what I want is, what are the headlines from
We
this?
don't have heroes. It's as simple
Right,
as that. We
okay.
have not highlighted our heroes.
Okay.
We've got lots of little heroes, but we haven't highlighted
That's what I
them.
wanted to mention, the role models.
Role models.
And outside the creative individuals, or away from the creative individuals, who are the other role models actually that can be brought into the game?
It would help us if we could simplify, structure this set of, here's the stuff we want to achieve, or here's the things we need help with. So we need a cleaner list
Yes.
that is going to be more memorable for the people who are going to appear later. So the place I'd like to get us to before lunch is to take everything we've got so far and see if we can, whether it's stick it under 3 headings. I kind of don't mind how we do it, but we've got to get to a simple, memorable message.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking you, what are the key headings of stuff that we've covered this morning? There's clearly there's something around the resources I'm calling it content because it happens to begin with a C, which fits the other two, but we can call it what you like. But there's something about what are the resources and how are they structured. Some of it exists, some of it doesn't, but in either case, you need a mechanism for communicating what does exist and trying to fill some of the gaps. So there's a content thing. I would link that to the professionalism that we've talked so much about. There's a communication issue because even if it's there, it's not getting out. And there's a collaboration issue that says don't do it alone, come together. Again, how else do we structure these headlines?
Also an education issue, everybody has touched on.
Yes.
Okay, education.
It's a part of a resource, right?
Ethical media is very important for you.
Yes.
Forming a council or a good legitimate base for this whole trial.
There were all these retailers pressing the big voice, retail scene, and they were asking for what is the total contribution of the retail sector to GDP every year, and I don't think we had the figures. The Dubai Chamber didn't have the figures, so I said there's no other. But unless a council like the Fashion Council would want to commission a research to find that out, but that is very important step to be done before you go and lobby the government to do whatever your demands are. If you don't have the figures, what is your contribution to the GDP, then it is equally proportional to the support you will probably get from government.
It's an overall challenge in the region is the access to data, right? So, and this GDP breakdown by the sector, which is a very common indicator in all other countries. I did so much research. I called ministries and economic council to find out if we have this data and we don't have it. But another, I think, very important role, that this platform would have, or the authority or the council, would be actually the collection and sharing of the data and research, because it's very important, especially for potential investors in retail and fashion business who want to come in this market. So another very important role of actually any of these councils, whether it's fashion sector, media sector, is the availability and provision of access to data.
But for that, we need to have a meeting place where people will come together. There is no such platform where today people come together in the fashion industry.
That could be
and
fashion forward.
That could be fashion forward. So I don't think they would want to, because that's not their mission. If somebody like a D3 might want to take that forward, but again, we've got to see whether it's going to be a different model. D3 is going to be a different model from the other TCOM free zones.
Thank you.